Hi, everybody. Happy Thursday. Thank you for joining me on February 17th here in the Locher Room. I'm Alan Locher. Today, we're celebrating the 25th anniversary since the debut of NBC's Sunset Beach. Cast members Christina Chambers, who played Maria Torres, Priscilla Garita, who played Gabi Martinez Torres, Jason George, who played Michael Bourne, Lisa Guerrero, who played Francesca Vargas, Kam Heskin, who played Caitlin Richards Deschanel, Dominique Jennings, who played Virginia Harrison, and Randy Spelling, who played Sean Richards, are all here to share their memories of their time working together on this very missed daytime drama. Sunset Beach made its television debut on January 6, 1997, and the show followed the loves and lives of the people living in the Orange County coastal community of Sunset Beach. Sunset Beach won 2 Daytime Emmy Awards and was nominated another 11 times during its 3-year run. The last episode aired on December 31st, 1999, and this show was the first daytime soap opera produced by the legendary television producer Aaron Spelling. Are you all ready to look back at Sunset Beach? Please welcome to the Locher Room Christina Chambers, Priscilla Garita, Jason George, Lisa Guerrero, Kam Heskin, Dominique Jennings, and Randy Spelling. Hello.
Hi.
Hello. And hello. Oh, we lost
Hi.
Christina. We lost Christina. Thank you all for being here. Am I missing anyone else? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes, Christina will be back momentarily. Here she is.
There.
Hi.
Thank you all for being here. You know, Jason, when you hear Sunset Beach, what immediately comes to mind? Oh, are you muted? You might have muted yourself. Okay.
For me, the word is life-changing, actually, is the first thing I think of, because I think everybody else here was banging around in the acting game, but I was in grad school studying to be an actor still. And out of a contest in a mall, in a week, my whole life changed. And, on Saturday, I closed a play in Philadelphia with some professional actors and with my graduate program. Sunday, I flew out to do the contest that Aaron Spelling was hosting to have somebody be part of his new show. And then Tuesday, found out I got the job. Thursday, I moved out to Los Angeles. Friday, I was doing a photo shoot with Sherry Som on the beach and met a bunch of these fine people. And I've been living in LA for the last 25 years. So
Wow.
It changed my life.
And that shirtless picture is probably the beach shot, I assume.
If we were shirtless, it was pretty much Tuesday. It was any given day. It was the beach. It was on set. It was shirtless all the time.
And is it true 14,000 people were up for
That's
that role?
what they tell me, but I figure if you opened up any audition to let anybody walk in, because they did it in malls across the country, if you opened up any audition, any one of these roles would have had at least 14,000 people showing up.
Wow, that's incredible. Dominique, for you, what's the first thing that pops to mind?
Game changer. Just lifelong friends, like the most fun I've ever had on a show. It started out, I was supposed to do 8 episodes and it turned into 2 years. And I mean, it was the most wonderful experience I have ever had. And I just absolutely loved working with everyone.
Kam, for you, Kam?
For me, I mean, it's the same as them. It was completely life-changing. I was living in New York at the time, actually, and so flew out to test and then ended up staying. So made great friends. I'm in constant contact with both Priscilla and Lisa and a lot of these guys here and there. So, I mean, I almost feel like we went to high school together or something. So no matter how old we get or what areas of the world we end up in, we're all still friends and connected in that way.
Well, I know there was hair conversation before, and then there was hair conversation when Randy came on. Randy, you have to turn around and show everybody your
man.
And Randy, for you, what stands out, when you hear Sunset Beach?
For me?
Yes.
It was pretty much high school for me. I had just gotten out of high school, and this was my stepping stone. So it really felt like a rite of passage, and I'm always so nostalgic for it because life was just really simple and easy. I showed up at NBC, and they let me into the gate, and I had my tuna sandwich at the cafeteria, and I got to see all of these faces, and it was just a real big learning opportunity. So it was a mix of just fun. It felt like home. And also, I have never been that sore facially from being slapped so many times repeatedly in a 3-year period.
That is great. Priscilla, for you?
I guess a little bit of everything everybody's saying, game changer, life changing. It was thrilling. When I got the news to be on an Aaron Spelling show, yes, I mean, that was pretty big, and I had just been doing theater in New York. I had done a play at Yale Rep. So mindset as far as TV was very different, and this changed the trajectory. And I was in New York, came out to LA, and it was actually very different for me because I had to test twice, because initially it was like I wasn't Latina enough, and I didn't know what that meant, but they did say, we love her, have her go to a tanning salon, a tanning booth. So I went to a tanning booth.
Wow.
3 times, and then I looked darker. I was still me, but just looked darker, and then tested again, and they're like, yeah, she's in. And I was like, oh, phew.
That is fantastic.
Yeah, it was pretty thrilling.
And
I've been here
Lisa,
since.
yeah, and here, Lisa, for you?
So this reminds me of a funny story because I almost didn't play Francesca. I originally tried out. My first audition was for Maria Chambers, and I tested for Maria, didn't get Maria, and then got a phone call a couple weeks later saying they're creating this new character, Francesca, and they think you have this spirit of this disruptor, this villainous. And so I didn't know how to take that, but okay. So I was so excited to join the cast, and it was absolutely life-changing for me as well. It set the foundation for everything I've done since then. Of course, now I'm an investigative reporter, but I use a lot of my acting skills because I go undercover constantly. So I am reminded of Francesca almost every day doing what I do today. I often think if I confronted Francesca, what would I say? I'm Lisa Guerrero with Inside Edition. Francesca, is it true you blackmailed Gabi with a VHS tape from the 90s? There you go. Full circle. Full circle.
That's great. Christina, you?
Yeah, honestly, my first thought was my parents didn't waste their money on my theater degree, because when I said, yeah, I want a theater degree, Mom and Dad, who are math teachers and science teachers, and they believed in me, and they never once batted an eyelash for anything. So I can just remember being so happy to make my parents proud that I wasn't going to waste my theater degree. And I flew out with Kam. I don't know if you remember. We flew out to test together. And I do remember that I got the call before I got on the plane that I booked it. But I believe you were on the plane and you got the call. Yeah.
Yeah, I was actually, we hadn't heard anything, and I was on the plane, and because it was 25 years ago, the flight attendant said, can Kam Heskin ring your call bell? And I thought, oh my God, I have something in my luggage. Like, what do I have in my luggage? And so I rang my call bell, and she said over the intercom, she said, you've got the part, you have to get off the plane.
Yeah,
and everybody started clapping.
When you told me that, I was just, what an amazing story for you first.
Yeah, that was great. I don't know that would happen now, but that happened then.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know that they would allow that on an airplane today.
Right.
I really don't know that. Just so everybody knows, Jason is actually at work on Station 19 right now. So if he disappears and comes back, he's going to try and reappear. Randy, Jane Jones says, seeing Randy with gray hair means I'm super old.
Yeah. I feel like that daily, so you're not alone.
I said it in the introduction. One of your co-stars said it, Randy, legendary producer Aaron Spelling. I was 10 when Charlie's Angels debuted.
Oh.
It was my childhood. you know, I got lucky and interviewed Jacqueline Smith on this show, which blew my mind. But I'm curious, do you know what, with your dad, what made him want to tackle daytime? He had tackled everything else.
Yeah. I wish I knew. I think he liked the challenge. I mean, look, being in Hollywood is a challenge. So I think for him, he had tackled so many other things, and he had done, I mean, he had a 2-year period where he didn't have any shows on the air after having so much success with so many shows steadily on the air that he was in a bit of a slump. From his perception, right? And then he had Beverly Hills 90210, which hit huge. And then he had Melrose Place, and he had Models Inc., and he had some other shows. So for him, it was, well, this is a territory that I haven't done. Why not? You know, I've had success in other areas. And, you know, I think he really just wanted to act. So that one scene that he did in Sunset Beach, I think he was saving his acting career to reemerge again for that show.
We are so thankful. We are so thankful he wanted to do daytime.
You know, I meant to, I had it in my head to say this at the beginning, but Andrea McKinnon and your PR team for Sunset Beach, I have to thank for helping to get us all together here. But Andrea just said that your dad actually was very present and came to set on many occasions. You ladies, what was it like to work for him, to meet him? Whoever wants to, Dominique?
It was such an honor to meet him. And he possessed this quiet power. And whenever he was there, it was just buzzing, our whole environment. And I will never forget him mentioning that he saw Virginia as Samantha, Heather Locklear. And I thought, okay, I like that. I like that. I will take that.
Which
so much.
Which, by the way, is huge for him to say, because he always revered Heather Locklear as a good luck charm for him, because she would come in and sort of like save the day on various shows, and it turned around and became really successful. So for him, that's saying a lot.
Anybody else?
Well,
I remember
with a legend. Sorry, Lisa. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Cami.
No, that's all I was going to say.
I have a little bit of a similar story to Dominique, where, you know, as I mentioned, I didn't get Maria, and then I got Francesca, and I found out later that Aaron Spelling said that I reminded him of Rita Hayworth from Gilda, which was one of his favorite films. And so the character that I played was an international jewel thief that was based on Rita Hayworth's character in Gilda. And I had a framed poster of Gilda on my wall in my home when I was on Sunset Beach, before I knew that story. So I never forgot that he thought that character was like Gilda, and that was really meaningful to me.
That's awesome. Do you have any screen test or audition stories that stand out? I don't know if you know. I know it's 25 years, so there may, you know.
Didn't most of us test with Tim Adams?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I wasn't sure what was going on with mine, because I thought it was interesting. I'm probably going into a little bit of a hole here, that there was a character already on the show that was my age and looked similar to me. So I wasn't quite sure what I was auditioning for originally. I remember that several of us auditioned with Tim Adams. And I remember when I got to set, the first person I met was Randy, and he was standing outside, hanging out outside of the studio. So I met him first.
Priscilla?
Mine was definitely interesting, because I was hired with the initial crew, but then I didn't start shooting until a few weeks later, because my character was going to come in and jump into the Hank and Laura, or I'm calling real names, not character names. What is, oh my God.
You were going to come into the story later.
Right. Yeah. So it was really weird, because I had quit my waitressing job at the Hard Rock Cafe, and I thought, okay, did I really get the offer? And I get the package, the greeting package, all the bling bling of Sunset Beach. But everybody started work, and I was just like, oh my God, I don't know if I'm really hired. So I ended up flying out to LA, and then somebody from Sunset helped me find a home in Brentwood. But still, I was just like, am I on the show? Am I not on the show? What's happening? So it was really strange.
That's got to be scary. If you can raise your hands, how many of you were there from day one?
Well, yeah, I mean, yes.
Yeah, you were. Yeah. And I think Jason was as well, right?
Jason was.
Yeah.
So,
Sherry. Yeah.
yeah.
Randy, what stands out, like, kicking off a show like this, and getting to set, you said you were right out of high school,
the beachiness of it, because our first photo shoot, I mean, I'm seeing Tim Adams. I mean, it's a little bit of a Baywatch moment where he's posing and ripped and shredded, and I'm thinking, I have to step up my game here. Well, I was not prepared for this. But then, there was Sam Behrens who played my father, and then there was Leslie Ann Down and Kathleen Noon, and these sort of older regal actors and actresses. And I got excited by that because when I was with them, I realized I'm going to learn a lot here. And this is a medium, not that I was so incredibly experienced when I joined the show, but I had done some TV and a little bit of, high school theater and stuff. And so this was shooting a script in a day and learning a 3-camera medium was brand new. So it was really exciting to get used to this platform dynamic that I'd never done before.
Absolutely. Kathleen Noon is joining me next Thursday. What stands out from working with Kathleen?
She's so talented. Oh my goodness. I mean, she's an incredible force to work with and has so much personality and charm that just like oozes out. You feel like you just want to catch it when you're working with her.
Dominique?
Scene stealer. She just stole every scene.
Wow.
Period, the end.
Period, the end. That's a great, really. That's a great compliment. Priscilla, you had...
She was just so funny all the time, so giving. And like Kam said, she was just this light force that came on, and it was just wonderful. I always wanted to work with her, but it wasn't in the storyline so much. But she was one that I loved to work with, along with the people that Randy mentioned. And in addition to Lee Taylor Young, I was able to work with her. Oh, and she just imparted so much wisdom on me. For personal reasons. She would just chat with me and give me some advice that I didn't even think I needed or was aware of, but it was worldly advice that I still to this day hold dear to my heart.
Dominique, Raymond Burks asks, can you ask about the turkey baster game? If you can share your thoughts on the story, us fans have been asking and speculating for 20 plus years.
I don't know if I thought it was like so super kooky. She had done so many interesting, odd things that I thought, okay, I'll just go with it. I remember being in my catering outfit and, kind of lurking behind the door and getting ready to do the dastardly deed. And I remember we went to an event with the fans, and I was given a turkey baster. I think I still have it. I think I use it at Thanksgiving. So it's my lucky turkey baster.
Your lucky baster.
That's great. Randy, I thought I'd share. One of the fans just wrote, Terrell wrote, if it wasn't for Aaron Spelling, we wouldn't have Shonda Rhimes, Ryan Murphy, Greg Berlanti, Dick Wolf, and others. He helped pave the way. He was the original showrunner. I think
Oh,
that
yeah.
is a perfect sentiment. You were talking about Kathleen and watching and learning from her. You know, a lot of you, when I said what stands out, you said it was like a game changer for you. 3 years working on the show, or 2. What do you think you learned, you know, on Sunset Beach that you've taken for the rest of, the rest of your career and even just in life? Christina?
How to pivot. They would, it's a game changer as far as how much your short-term memory can hold. And when new scripts were thrown at you, and then the instantaneous family, like honestly, when I saw all the faces of these beautiful people for the first time when we got here, I just wanted to cry. Everybody believed in you. You go to Hollywood, you go to LA, and you think you're on your own. Everybody wants to stab you in the back or take this from you. And every person on that show felt like they were in your corner and cheering for you. And so every show past that, no matter what, even if I wasn't working with people who were in my corner, I knew that they were there. I knew that there were these people had my back, and I will forever be grateful for that. So thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Lisa, you talked about how it helped you in your investigative journalism.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, the obvious thing that I take away that I think about every single day are 2 of my best friends, Kam and Priscilla, are like my sisters. And it's interesting because, of course, we played nemesis, right? I was the bad girl and Gabi was, at least the time, the good girl in terms of our storyline. And then Kam, of course, I tried to break up her marriage, steal her baby and all those things. But now I look back at that experience as being a gift for the reasons, that I mentioned professionally, but just personally, the amount of love I have for these 2 women that has gone on for decades now is one of the most important things in my life.
Thank you.
Another reason, Randy, your dad, I mean, he brought this family together. It's a gift. Priscilla, what do you think you learned? I mean, acting wise and
acting wise, yeah, absolutely. Like Christina said, the amount of material that we had to study and be prepared, and then changes on set. Just the professionalism of having to show up and get straight to work. But along with that, it immediately became family. So yeah, you jump into hair and makeup, but that everybody, crew and the actors, just production, everybody, it was a big family. And it was like we were playing all the time. We were laughing. It wasn't work. It didn't feel like work. So you always had that professional feeling, and you did the work, but you were I mean, I remember laughing so hard and like I thought I was going to get in trouble by Gary, like my dad, like gonna yell at me or something because I was laughing so hard and I could not stop. And it was I was working with Clive, but my body was shaking, and poor thing. And I'm like, how can we go on from this scene? It was just amazing. And like Lisa said, yes, I mean, my best friends, Sean, Sherry, Lisa, Kam, Dom. I mean, I include Randy and Christina as well. Jason, I mean, Hank, I still see him, love him. I lived with Chrissy for a bit after we ended the show. So like all of these people, they're my family now. And even the people that I still communicate with Facebook, all the production people, it's just, it changed my life in such a positive way. And I feel like I became a better actor because of it, but also a better human being because of it.
I love that. Love that. Yeah. Kam, for you?
Well, I didn't know how to act when I came to Sunset Beach. So for me, I don't know if anyone knows that or not, but I don't agree with that.
I don't either.
So there was a lot of I worked a lot with Sarah Buxton and Sam and Leslie Ann Down. So Sarah was a huge help. And I was always like, Sarah, how do I do this? What do I do that? Which way does this happen and that happen? And Sam and Leslie Ann were great to just bounce stuff off of. And run lines and even just line readings and anything to just, get things workable for myself. But through the year and a half that I experienced on there, I learned so much from everybody. And, I worked with Eddie a lot, and he's just a extreme practical joker. So there was a lot going on of like aspirin in the little mint jar and all kind of jokes of him buttoning down his shirt and having like gorilla hair underneath, and there was all kinds of like hijinks going on with that one for sure.
I'm sorry he was so hard to look at.
Oh yeah, well there was
that was sad.
Really sad. Dominique, for you?
Oh, it was such a safe haven. And I echo everything that everyone said. And Priscilla, I mean, the laughing was it was constant. Singing, laughing, dancing in between takes. I think we absolutely all got better because of the experience on Sunset Beach. And our friendships, I mean, I just saw Priscilla, Jason, Sherry, a couple months ago, if that. Being around veterans, constantly learning, getting better at your craft, and just having that kind of family. I didn't think I would ever have an experience like that going forward. And I can just say I'm just super thankful for the experience.
Randy, for you, now I know you have pivoted and you have your own coaching business. Did that experience help you in what you're doing today?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, acting on that show and having to, I was just telling my daughters this because they have no idea. They barely watch TV or anything. So they don't understand this, but I was letting them know how much dialogue, how much we would have to do in a day. And, there's such an incredible gift in that of being able to show up with other people, give and receive in a scene, but you have to move through it. So it's how can I make this the best and also get through this? Because we have so much stuff to do. And so it really takes a lot of collaboration and working together. And sure, there were some really fun times and jokes, but I look at what was it? It was Terror Island, and then what was it Shockwave or something?
Shockwave.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that is ambitious to tackle on a soap opera. The reason why they don't do that on soap operas is because it's an extraordinary amount of work and time and effort, even to build the sets and shooting all of that. To do that, I mean, Terror Island, because we were there until it was like 3 a.m. a couple nights.
Yes.
I remember going home, eating something, crawling into bed, and waking up 4 hours later and going to set and just looking at everyone and knowing that everyone's so tired, but we're all in it together. That camaraderie and creative energy that everyone is there and everyone is tired, but we're working hard to achieve a goal with an exciting outcome is really good training. And to answer your question in terms of coaching and helping people now, I get to act out for them what they most need to see. So all of that training was really helpful for me to be able to become that. I just wish if I could go back, I could take what I know now, because some of the love scenes I did and some of the emotion, I didn't have it. I didn't have the life experience. And even when I was thinking about doing this reunion today, I was thinking, I wish I could go back and just be who I am now, to sit with everyone, because I was young. I was, 18, 19, 20. I didn't get a chance to talk to some of the other cast members as much or as deeply as I would have liked to, because I was young and sort of hanging out with the younger crowd. So that's something I would do differently.
We all, at the age we are now, we think about those things that, where we could have learned, right? So much we could learn if we had just opened ourselves up to it. Now, the Terror Island thing, that's not the same as the earthquake and the tsunami, is it?
No, two separate things.
Two separate things. Now, and the earthquake and the tsunami is when the show began, right? Pretty much. Oh, that was later.
No.
I thought I had read that it was early on.
No, Sunset Beach. I mean, am I right? Sunset Beach was was trying to tackle. So Scream was really, really, really big, and that came out. And then
Yes.
Terror Island happened, and then there was some sort of Titanic. Titanic came out and was big, and so then we did the tsunami and the earthquake shockwave thing.
It was
right?
so fun.
Yes, that was after the first.
That's right.
I was introduced during Shockwave, and that was 1 year into the show. And Francesca appeared on the cruise ship that ended up being upside down. So one of my first days on the set, I thought I was in a soap opera, and suddenly I'm underwater in a spaghetti strap dress, swimming from one part of the boat to the other. It seemed like I was on a film set, not a soap opera. And it was just so ambitious and so wonderful and so shocking and so incredibly inspiring and so freezing cold all at the same time. It was really amazing. But
I love the names of these story arcs. They're great. Terror Island, the tsunami, the earthquake. Jason, we were talking about, everybody said at the start of the show that game changer. I think you were the first that this was a game changer. What here you are on the set of Station 19 today. What do you think, working those 3 years on Sunset Beach helped you do, on Grey's Anatomy, and here you are on Station 19?
The soap opera world gets a real bad rap because, and this is what I tell folks all the time. I'm like, soaps are the greatest place to start or the greatest place to retire. And if you can live there in between, it's a great gig because you immediately learn how to get those lines in your head, make choices fast, and you got to stand by them and stand to deliver. I mean, soaps, they want it in one take. If they got to take two, they'll do it. If you do it for a third take, they're eyeballing you because now you're the problem. And meanwhile, I've just done the same scene. We're at well over a half dozen times, and we're just now turning around to do it another half dozen times in the other direction. So it really trains you to get it going as long as you stay on point. But you can also, the other thing is you got 5 episodes a week, so if you flub it one day, you got 4 more shots that week. So you can easily get into bad habits if you want to. But for me, it taught me how to get in the game really fast and really make strong choices as an actor. And then also the other part is I'll just throw props to Randy's pop, that the fact that we were on a soap that was produced by Aaron Spelling, the king of primetime. The next show I did was an Aaron Spelling show. I went straight from, so it was, because soaps, that's the other problem with soaps is that, in this whole business, the people that you've worked with, and they know you. So if you've worked in soaps, other soap people know you, and that's it. If you work in Shondaland, people in Shondaland know you, but Ryan Murphy don't know me. Ryan Murphy don't care about me. So it's a hard world to break out of. And I was just blessed that Aaron Spelling did this show because it gave me a shot at the next gig.
And what was this Aaron show you did after?
It was called Titans. Actually, it was.
Right.
Yeah, it was fun. It was short lived, but it got series regular. On my resume at that point. That's all I was looking for.
And it's prime time, so and it was prime time. Penny just said, "Happy late birthday, Jason."
Penny is my love. Everybody, have you all been already talking about Penny?
No, I just saw that she wrote "Happy late birthday," so I read that to you.
This is Penny that I'm assuming, Penny was this is the Penny I'm thinking of. She was the president of the Sunset Beach fan club.
Okay, Penny Ellington is her name. Penny Ellington.
Penny parlayed that into a publicist gig at ABC, and she's been there for years. So I'll still run into her at various events, and she created an entire career out of loving Sunset Beach. So she wasn't the only one. Some people behind the scenes also. It just got a lot of people started. It was like one of the greatest times of my life.
I was a fan of Guiding Light and As the World Turns before I ended up running the PR department, so I understand. I understand. Talk about you, just in case you jet off. Do you have a favorite storyline at Sunset Beach, Jason?
I was just having a conversation with someone. I'm looking at you, Dominique. You know.
Oh!
The infamous turkey baster episode. Dun, dun, dun.
We actually just talked a little about it.
Yeah, so you know, I don't need to go on about it. It was one of the ones where it's the one that it's always right there. Sunset Beach comes up within a couple of minutes in my world, Dominique's world, Sherry Som's world. Sunset Beach, 2 minutes later, turkey baster comes up. It just does. It's
well,
it's there because
Dominique said she got one at a fan club. Somebody handed her one at a fan gathering.
I still have it. It's in the kitchen.
Here's the crazy part. There's actually an artificial insemination storyline, and somebody backstage referred to it as a turkey baster situation. And I just fell out laughing, and nobody else understood why I was laughing. I was like, "We'll talk later. I'll explain."
You both, Dominique and Jason, mentioned Sherry Som. What was Sherry like?
Oh.
She was a horrible human being. She was very demanding. She threw things on set.
Horrendous. That's horrendous.
And I had a lawsuit. They talked me out of it. I backed out. Sherry, it was all like fated to be because Sherry, I mentioned I did that contest. So I came out I flew out to do this contest. We were auditioning using roles that were already cast. And the contest had people of every race and ethnicity, and so we knew that this very well meant that we probably weren't getting a job. But I kept looking at the monitor, and they were casting Michael and Vanessa on the show. And I'm watching on the monitor as all these different people come through. And I remember there was this one woman that they had come through twice already, and I was like, she's good, but she was paired with this one guy who was a model trying to be so cool for school that he was doing nothing. And I was like, he's not going to get the job, but she's great. And they brought her back and they put her with a guy who was so convinced that he was going to nail it that he actually was a little spastic and actually scratched her and hurt her in the scene. And I was like, she's really great. He's garbage. And then I got to go out and do a scene and they brought her back. When I saw her show up, I was like, this is going to be good. And I will say to my dying day that Sherry and I got each other the job because that audition scene was better than we actually did the scene like a month later or 2 months later or whatever. She's one of the most, she's one of the most beautiful human beings inside and out. She's good people. I have twins. She has twins. Hers are identical. So she had to beat me again. What are you going to do? She's pretty fantastic.
While we're on, a few of you have mentioned children. Randy said it's girls. You have children. Any inkling that your children are going to follow in the acting path you have taken?
I hope not.
I'm trying to convince Kam to make her youngest, Marcus, a Rams fan. And I went to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, you went to the Super Bowl.
I got Marcus a T-shirt. So this is coming your way, Kam.
Oh, I'm excited. They'll love it.
I love
Big
that.
sports fan. Yeah.
How was the Super Bowl?
Amazing. Rams won. So best day of my life almost. Yes. It was great.
Lisa, do you have a favorite storyline during your time at Sunset Beach?
Who shot Francesca, of course.
And
Randy mentioned that his dad, would take these amazing storylines that he had seen, in different areas on TV and film. And of course, Who Shot JR on Dallas was a big storyline before our show. And so the whole reason they had cast me as this character was to come in and be a disruptor to so many people's storylines and characters that they all wanted to kill me. So I think we got the cover of one of the soap opera magazines, and they had built this whole storyline about me just being horrible to people. And it was so enjoyable. I loved every second of being a badass disruptor, villainous. It was one of the joys of my life. It was so much fun. And to be able to blackmail Gabi, Priscilla's character, and do all those great scenes with Priscilla. Those were my favorite scenes, Priscilla, between you and I. That was so much fun. So yeah, Who Shot JR? And then jumping out of a cake, getting
who
shot
did
and
shoot
jumping
you?
out of a cake.
I don't
Gregory.
even remember who shot you. Gregory.
Cam
deserved it.
Gregory.
Yeah, Gregory.
And Lisa, while we're on you, what led you to investigative journalism?
Well, I started as a sportscaster. So when I was on Sunset Beach Monday through Friday, I was a sportscaster for Channel 2, CBS 2 in Los Angeles on the weekends. I was then seen by Fox, went over to Fox Sports Net and Best Damn Sports Show Period, Tough Man, Sports Geniuses, and then went on to Monday Night Football, where I was sideline reporter on ABC. From there, I got a job with Inside Edition as an entertainment reporter, which I hated. But they had a little guerrilla unit that was chasing bad guys, and they were making a real difference in people's lives. And I said, that's what I want to do. I'm going to take this experience I've had as an actor. I'm going to take, my social justice, very strong feelings about helping people and helping survivors. And I'm going to be the next investigative reporter for this show. I begged them, and they said, it's very dangerous. You don't want to do it. And I said, no, this is the job of my dreams. And so in 2010, I was promoted to chief investigative correspondent. And since then, I've won 35 national investigative awards. I put people in prison, and I hope I help people feel better.
That's amazing.
That's how it happened. It's an accident.
Bravo. Bravo. I love that. I love that. Christina,
but I
do you have
love
a
acting.
favorite?
I miss it. It's fun.
Well, it does. I don't rule that out with you. If you were doing Sunset Beat, a daytime soap, and reporting on the weekends, you can handle, another acting gig as well. Yeah. For sure. Yes. For sure.
As long as I'm a bad
Christina,
guy.
do you that's your choice? Keep it in the bad guy family.
Always.
Christina, do you have a favorite storyline?
I think the action stuff is always fun. So when Ben's twin evil brother showed up, Derek, and Meg and I got to run around with Susan Ward and I, chasing and tying up people and trying to save the day. And it was just a lot of fun working with Susan. Like, I could see, today's storyline, maybe Meg and Maria have a storyline. They go and do their own thing, which is what I loved about Aaron Spelling. Your dad, Randy, he paved the way, I truly believe, for strong women. Just even Charlie's Angels.
Well,
he was the first person to put 3 women. Oh, yeah.
And you played my favorite, in a Charlie's Angels movie of the week. What was that like, playing Jacqueline Smith?
It was just a dream come true. I grew up with her. I'm very old. I grew up watching her. And again, your dad was the first person to say 3 women can carry a show. Yeah, they can. And I don't know if he realizes what a big thing that was. I'm sure he did. But and they try to write it off like, oh, it's Jiggle TV. That's why people are tuning in. But that's, the media is going to write about that. They're not going to write about these 3 strong, amazing women. And
five seasons
each too. What's that?
5 seasons of that show and 100 episodes. That's not Jiggle TV. People were,
No, and again, it was so groundbreaking. Even, this past weekend at the Super Bowl, that's, there was some Jiggle TV going on. It's about that he trusted these women to carry the show. And even on our show, Sunset Beach, I think soaps in general, the parts the women get to play in daytime, I feel are a lot broader for them, a lot more powerful than some nighttime, although it's coming around, it has been. But I'm so grateful to Aaron, your dad, for opening those doors for us. It's amazing. So.
Me too. Mm-hmm.
Well said.
Yeah. Randy, do you have a favorite storyline?
Yeah, I think those 2 that I mentioned, Terror Island and the Shockwave event. There were those that were on the boat and those that were on land. I can't remember, Jason. You were on Terror Island. We did that together, right? Right, because I remember you at like 2 or 3 in the morning and clothes kind of ripped and dirtied up. And I remember one time looking at you and you still had energy, and I was taking all my cues from you because I was like, I'm just going to look to him, and I'm so tired right now. But you were still going and joking around. Because there was just the other stuff. being in studio every day, some of it blended together, but I think Terror Island stood out, Shockwave stood out. And for me personally, the biggest one that stood out was when my dad, Sam Barron's Gregory, when everyone thought that he died, because I had to, so every month or 2 months, we would build up all the outside shots, everything that was shot outside at Seal Beach, and then we would go and shoot that. And sometimes I literally wouldn't show up to work for 2 weeks because I wasn't in the storyline. But because my dad died and I was in a love triangle with, the other characters, and then my dad died, and it was very dramatic. And so I had scene after scene after scene. And I remember they even said, we'll have a car for you this day to go to Seal Beach and drive back. Cause I had like 16 or 17 scenes, 4 pages of dialogue at a time, and then I had to go back, and then we had to do the eulogy and the funeral. And I just remember going, I don't know if I can do this. And then doing it and going, I could do this. I could bring it on. 80 pages. I can do this. And it was, it was just a good memory of being able to act those things out.
It's got to feel good when all those pages are finally done too.
Oh my
Yeah.
Yes.
Your shoulders drop.
Yes. I remember it was a little bit easier for me to cry when he died because I was so freaking tired. So tired.
Exhaustion set in. Dominique,
Yes.
Eric says, this was the best show. I mean, it really was an escape. That turkey baster business. Lord love Dominique for the work she did and the mischief her character caused. Is that your favorite as well?
Any scene with Jason and Sherry were just always great. I would feel so bad that I treated Vanessa so badly. I mean, after the scene was over, we would always hug. But I have to say that I really had a good time playing Salita Jones in the Martin Syndrome storyline, where I put on the red wig, and I had on the suit that added girth, and I had this strange voice, and I pretended to be a nurse, and Lillian Lehman was Sherry's mother. And so that was fun for me because that was sort of thrown at me the night before, like, okay, you're playing this character, Salita Jones. And I thought, oh, okay, let me just jump in and try to come up with something different. And it was super fun.
Somebody, Stephen just said that Joyce Guy is here. She was the voodoo witch doctor.
Yes,
So
Mrs. Maroon.
She might be watching right now. Somebody just said she was watching. Kam, for you, a favorite storyline?
Probably. I feel like every script for me was Caitlin and Cole lovemaking, Caitlin and Cole kissing in the cave, Caitlin and Cole holding hands, making out. So there was.
Do you like kissing?
He taught me how to stage kiss. Does that count? So there was a lot of practice there. But probably storylines, I guess. What was the one with all the water? Was that when we shot Francesca, the one with all the water, and we were always there until like 2 and 3 a.m. in like tubs and pools and stuff like that? That was Terror.
Shockwave.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. That was such a bonding experience because again, it was like we were this high school, we were all these young kids coming together, and so staying up late was okay and a lot of fun, and a lot of us hung out off of set, and so those experiences were just fun. We didn't have to go home to families, most of us, so it was just a good time and hanging out with our friends.
It was.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Lisa Jane.
Sorry.
What'd you say, Christina?
Oh no, I was just, when you had said stage kissing, when we had to screen test people, some people did not know that there was stage kissing during screen tests, and we had to inform them that there are certain ways to kiss on screen and not.
Keep the tongue to yourself.
Right.
That was all. I just wanted to say that yes, it's not something everybody comes in knowing, and it's always fun to have to screen test 20 gentlemen and have to Let them know. There is a way to screen test this.
You need to hold up a sign. Keep your tongue in your mouth. Lisa Jane said, Lisa was such a hero for me. I'm a woman who loves sports. She was so professional, not window dressing, but it sounds as if she's making such a difference in her new career.
That means so much to me. Thank you so much, because when I started in sports, there weren't a lot of women. I was the only woman in the locker room for the Lakers games and the Dodgers games and most of the sports that I covered in the 90s. And so now I see a whole army of young women that are sports fans, that are enthusiastic about storytelling, know how to do stand-ups, know how to cover sports really well. And I'm so thankful I got to be kind of one of the pioneers of that. But it makes me feel so good now today to see a young woman say, I'm passionate about this kind of journalism. I want to do it. And I looked up to you. Thank you. So thank you for saying that. I'm going to cry. I'm just going to not stop crying. That's all. I feel like I've been crying for the last hour. Thank you for that.
Priscilla, your favorite storyline?
Oh God, it's hard to pick. I feel like I was so blessed with my character, because I started in one place and I had a huge arc and then came on the other side. But with Randy saying, yes, the shock wave, which I think also was very similar to the Shelley Winters, the film back in the day.
The Poseidon Adventure.
Yeah. Poseidon Adventure.
And
that was thrilling.
And Titanic.
Yes, like you said, Titanic. So that one I loved, because Hank and I we actually did all our stunt work. So we were going into those water things. And then I don't even remember how many gallons of water were thrown on us. It was really terrifying, but at the same time, it's thrilling. Because I thought I was going to die from being underwater. And I was like, oh my God, I can't get out. But you get out and you're like, oh my gosh, that was so amazing. Terror Island, another one. Yes, the exhaustion though, Randy, does play into the whole euphoria of like, wow, this is an amazing experience. The court with Gabi finding out that she was raped as a child by her father. That was such a pivotal acting moment for me, because it was one of the first times I didn't recall, like I felt like I really dropped into a character, but it was so surreal, because I think sometimes you would get a script and you'd read it and that was it. I didn't have to read it again, because it just dropped into my being. And I remember being on set and Sam Barron's grilling me, and I don't know what happened, but it's one of those actor moments where, oh my God, I'm going to cry. The childhood memory, like I was really living it. And I had done a lot of research on that and traumatic events, and researched it tremendously. I remember even approaching your dad, Randy, to ask if I can chop my hair off, because that was something that rape victims did oftentimes afterward, because they needed to I don't know, rid themselves of that. I don't know, just to come out of that experience. So we ended up chopping my hair off, and I was so grateful. It was something I had always wanted to do, but that was amazing. And then all the moments at the Surf Central, the group things were awesome. And then Lise, when we had that the videotape of fighting, it was two strong women, and it was it was like fireworks. So I had so many, like I said, I was so blessed to come in and be so bad, and evil, temptress to Hank's character.
My poor brothers.
Oh my God. And that was, with a priest. That love triangle was amazing. My poor father in real life, he got such abuse because people would approach him thinking at work, thinking that that was real. And he's like,
Oh,
you have to
God.
separate. That's a soap opera. You have to separate that. That really didn't happen to her in real life. So I can't pick one. All of that. Oh, and the live episode. Remember we did a live
Oh,
episode?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
That's right.
I
That
love the
was-
live episode.
Right? That was theater.
Fun.
Because I was coming from theater and I talked a lot of smack, and I had Tim Adams scared to death. I had I'm coming for you in this scene. I'm gonna wreck you in this scene. I was just warning people. Yeah. It was good.
Thrilling.
J-
I don't think
Jason,
that had ever been done before.
it had One Life to Live had done it for a couple
Oh,
of
really?
times. Yeah. And as you know, I mean, most shows were live back in the, long time ago in the day. Soaps.
Mhm.
Jason, you said you came from theater, but you almost came from a career in law. Did you choose the right path?
Yeah. I mean, look, it eventually worked out. It took a while for all the, I never told my dad that I was going to go to graduate school for acting. I just went. But I had a mentor in law who was a Supreme Court justice in Virginia. He was the youngest and only the second Black Supreme Court justice of Virginia. And basically the whole thing was, it was like I was going to be a made man in the state of Virginia. Like, we'll write your recommendations. You come clerk for me. You're done. Whole career laid out in front of you. And then I took an acting class and the whole thing went to hell. And I never told my dad that I was going to go study acting, but I had to call the judge. And I had to call Judge Hissel, was his name. And it was just silence on the phone for the longest time. But cut to somewhere around the third season of Sunset Beach. He hit me up for some autographs for some of the people in his office. And I was like, okay, we're good now. We're good. Yeah. So it worked out. It worked out.
That is great. Randy, I didn't ask you, growing up, with your dad, do you have a favorite show he created besides Sunset Beach?
Yeah, so I mean, I grew up watching 90210. It was just my age range, and so product of the 90s. But I think
My husband downstairs, the same thing. Big, like beyond.
yeah, I mean, every week, I'd order a pizza, or I'd get my food, and I'd sit and I'd watch 90210. But I think one of my favorites actually was when he came out with a show called Any Day Now. Does anyone remember that?
Vaguely.
I only remember the actress's name. I think her name was Annie Potts. But it was about a Black woman and a white woman who were best friends growing up. And now they moved back. One of them moved back to town, and there was racism. And it was like they didn't understand each other. And, that was back in the 90s.
Yeah, that sounds familiar. I sort of remember that, but that is early,
Yeah. And I mean, there was, episode after episode, they would deal with issues. And I think it was so relevant. I think it's relevant now.
Yep.
I'd love to see even more shows like that, really spotlighting that and highlighting that. I think it's a great way to talk about issues and show what it's actually like. Obviously, there are shows that are out there now and so many books. But the one thing was my dad would come home. He was so excited to show me the pilot. He was so proud of that show and what he was doing. And I think all along, things that he would share with me, I mean, he was so proud of hiring Davis Jr. as a co-star when the network said, we will not have a co-star or a leading actress be Black. We won't do it. And he said, then I won't do the show. And I think his gumption to fight for what he believed in and to put that in, it's so funny to hear, because a lot of people are like, oh, Aaron Spelling, there's a lot of fluff TV. I think there was an element of that, but I also think he was good at knowing what would entertain people and get a message across. And if you look at all the action movies, I mean, look at that James Cameron movie, Avatar. I think there's so much violence in it, great message underneath, but it's a way of entertaining and sliding the message in at the same time.
Randy, I want to give you a few more props because my first guest starring role was on Moesha, which Brandy played the lead role about a young Black girl growing up, and I didn't realize until we showed up at the famous spelling Christmas party every year that it was that it was part of the spelling family of shows.
I didn't know that either. Was it?
It was. It was part of, I think, Big Ticket, I think, was a company which your dad owned. And it was a thing where, and that's where I began to, when we walked to that party, first off, it was like the tail end of like classic Hollywood. He was literally sitting at a table with some of the Angels, some of the original Charlie's Angels sitting at the table with him. And that's when you thought, oh my God. And then I looked and I saw the Moesha phone. I was like, what are you doing here? They're like, and I began to realize how far his reach was. And he knew that people thought of his brand a certain way. And he said, okay, well, where that benefits me, we'll use that. Like for our show, for Sunset Beach, but where it doesn't, he just knows good TV. He knows good entertainment. So he puts Moesha on, which was huge for the Black community. A major show. Or like, the one that I always point to where it blows people's minds is the movie The Usual Suspects. That he's a producer on it. And nobody ever realized that. I'm like, because he knew that his brand, as people understood it, he's like, no, that's going to be good entertainment and that's going to make money. That's what needs to be out there. If my name moves the needle for it, fine. Otherwise, I'll be behind the scenes and make it happen. And there were so many shows in that Christmas. Judge Judy, I think, was in the room at the time.
Yeah.
I was like, why are you here? And the answer is Aaron Spelling has an eye for talent, and he spots it and puts it in. And he, like you said, puts it in from whatever community they're coming from. So
this group here thanks Aaron Spelling, but think of all of the people he has opened doors for. Randy, you were mentioning Any Day, and Joyce Guy, who played the voodoo thing, said that she remembers it. She did an episode with Lorraine Toussaint as well. So she was on it as well. Randy, before I let you all go, I know, Randy, we talked briefly. What prompted you to leave acting behind and open Randy Spelling Coaching?
I wanted something different. I wanted to show up in the world in a different way. And I think being born into the family that I was born into, and I loved acting. It wasn't that I didn't like it, but if I was honest with myself, did I have the drive to make it by any means necessary and keep going to auditions day after day after day? And it just didn't feel like that's how I wanted to live. So the big pivot for me was I had always been into different forms of psychology and metaphysics and wanting to help people. So my own journey led me to wanting to help myself and figure out what my own path was. And that was really just the family path. And so I did that because I didn't think that I could do anything else. And when I had a chance to really go within and say, how do I want to show up here in my life? It's like, maybe I want to do something else. And I tried it and it stuck. I found something that I felt like I was good at. It could be creative. It could be fun. I could get a message out there. So in a way, I kind of found a way to follow my dad's footsteps in my own lane. I still get to figure out how to create creative content, how to reach people, what's going to help people, and how I can do that in a meaningful way. And so, I get to carry it on in my own way.
I love that.
I gave props to your dad a second ago, Randy. Now I'm going to give you props. Listening to one of my favorite podcasts that talks about the industry the other day, they were talking about how there's a sea change, a shift in bad behavior not being rewarded anymore, that you don't get to throw things at your assistant, that sort of thing. And they were quoting you as a rage coach to some powerful producers in this town. And I just felt really proud of you. I was like, that's what's up. Because, you've always had a calmness and more than your years, and the maturity beyond your years. Back in I can say it when you were 18. Now that you're like a grown-ass man, it doesn't make any sense for me to talk about it like you're like 18. But the fact that, given that you have that legacy, this town needs that change. And it just, as I heard them talk about it, I didn't know that you were doing the coaching. And it made all the sense in the world to me that you were the best person who could organically and authentically actually speak to people and say, you know, because your dad, all of us can attest, he was pure love. Like, you know, he showed up. My mom will still talk about him like they were buddies because he remembered her name. You know,
I love that.
I feel like Lisa, you're gonna make me cry.
I'm not trying to. I'm just trying to say that, you know, you have a legacy in this town, and I think what you're doing right now is incredible and desperate. It's been needed for decades in this town. And so to know that, like, people have, you know, when they hear your last name and immediately you're going to talk to them a different way. They're going to hear you a different way than anybody else, and they need to hear what you're talking about. I just wanted to say it to you because I know how I should have meant it. But, you know, but we'll run out and grab a drink anyway. I'm getting yelled at to come to set again.
Jason.
Are you all?
Love you.
Bye, Jason.
Bye.
2-year-old young woman is saying hello. She watches Station 19 and she can't believe you're on YouTube right now live. She's a big fan from the UK.
Right.
Welcome to the show. Thanks for watching the show.
Thanks
Bye,
for doing
Jason.
this, Jason. Before I let you go, you know, December 31st, 1999, the last show. Do you all remember being on set or how you learned? And, you know, was it crushing when you heard the show was being canceled?
I think Randy and I were actually in Florida on a film set because after Sunset Beach, did we play boyfriend and girlfriend in a movie?
Yeah.
Right, yeah. Okay. So
I'm glad it was so memorable.
No, but I just want to make sure.
Did we have to kiss? I don't even remember that.
Well, I remember we played brother and sister, I feel like a few times, and then we played boyfriend and girlfriend too. So I couldn't remember which thing was which. But we found out, I think, in Florida on our film set that, and then we had to come back to do the tail end of Sunset Beach.
It was. Well, I hated that because NBC wanted to start their own show. They wanted to own the show, so they had passions. And I don't know if you remember, they were pitting us against each other with fans, and it just got total mean girl going down with their show and our show. Not we weren't, but just the way the higher ups were doing it. And your dad was so kind. He tried so hard to get our show picked up elsewhere. So I feel like when it was all going down for me anyway, there was still that, oh, we're going to get picked up. We had a huge, all the people who were here about to cry again, we had the most amazing fans that showed up and were there for us and lobbied for us. And I don't think it really occurred to me that we were going to get canceled or not be picked up.
Like I said, we have people from Russia, Poland, London, you know, watching today. You know, the power of daytime, you know, and what your dad created, you know, and it's just a shame, you know, so many daytime shows have, you know, I think were let go just before the streaming boom kicked in because, you know, we might still have Sunset Beach or, you know, As the World Turns or any of the ones, you know, if these had, you know, been set. Thank you all for spending this time. You made the fans so happy. They want a part 2 already. I saw them writing. They want a part 2.
Can we give a shout out to the fans? Can we?
Yes.
Thank you, fans.
Thank
Stephen
you.
DiFiore.
We love you.
And I love being able to see all of you. So thank you, fans, for allowing this to happen.
I know, what a treat.
It was
Thank
the fans
you.
and your former publicists. So Andrea and team, thank you.
Thank you, Andrea.
Thank you, Andrea.
And Alan, thank you. Thank you for
thank
having
you,
us
Alan.
all.
Thank you
and
for pulling
doing
us all
this.
together.
Great.
You're so welcome. You're so
You're
welcome.
welcome.
Stay well, everybody. Have a great night.
You too.
Bye, everybody.
Good to see you guys.
Love.
Bye.
Bye,
Bye.
everybody.
Oh my gosh.
Don't cry. Don't
I
cry. Thanks for watching, everybody. Thank you to this incredible cast: Christina, Dominique, Jason, Kam, Lisa, Priscilla, and Randy for joining me today. Join me tonight at 7 Eastern when Bill and Susan Hayes, the legendary daytime couple, join me live right here. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you haven't turned on notifications, turn them on so you get reminders of all upcoming shows. And I will see everybody in a few hours. Bye-bye.